Good morning. Okay, hello, can you see me? Can you hear me? Even though the weather is starting to break, it's not breaking that bad, you know. It's still a little chilly. Okay, so this is what I wanted to say, and I want to walk and talk as I process this. So I'm thinking about being behind in life, and immediately what came to mind is like sports that I would play that I had to race. I had to race people in sports. And all right. Oh, it's tracking me, period. Hello. Yeah, the weather is not breaking yet. It's still chilly. But the high today was supposed to be like 56 or something like that, 56 or like the 60s. But it's still chilly because it's still an overcast day. The sun's not out. Okay, but I wanted to talk about this idea of being behind in life as I was talking about before. That's the thing I hate about talking on camera. It's like you have to make sense immediately. You have to jump in it immediately because you got to get people's attention. But anyway, I was thinking about swimming. I used to swim on a swim team in high school. I swam competitively, and I would do the 50 freestyle, which is down and back one way, and the 400 free, which is down and back 8 times, and sometimes a 200 free, right? You're trying to remain as hydrodynamic as possible, like aerodynamics with airplanes. You're trying to make your body as lean as possible with the water. You're trying to make friends with the water, with your body. You don't want there to be too much fight because you don't want to exert too much energy fighting the water to get to the end and back, right? So there are things that you do when you're swimming, i.e. tucking your head down into your chest like this to make yourself, again, hydrodynamic, right? To make yourself friends with the water. When I was learning how to swim competitively, one of the main things my coaches were telling me were to pay no attention to what's going on beside of you. Pay no attention to the person in the lane to the left or the person in the lane to the right, right? Because they're not running your race. They're not swimming your race. They're not in the lane with you. You have to swim your race. But they also told me to not look to the side because you drag. You lose momentum. Like when you turn to the side, you create more resistance within the water, right, that you're swimming in. And so in order to keep our head straight, right, but to also better our time. Sorry, I'm looking over my shoulder. I gotta make sure I'm safe. To also better our time, right? Like it was imperative that we focused on our own race, tucked our head down, and there's like a line. I don't know if you've ever seen like in the pool, but there's like a black line if you're swimming laps. And so at the end of the lane, at the end of the line, the black line, it'll be like a T at the top, and it'll show you, okay, this is where it ends. You need to flip over to push off the wall to swim back, right? You have all the things you need in the water. All the signs are there telling you where to go, when to turn, right? What to pay attention to. What's going on to the left or to the right of you is none of your concern. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because who told you that you were behind in life? How did you find out that you were behind in life? Looking to the left or to the right? Whether somebody came over into your lane and told you that you were going too slow, or whether you were paying attention to other people. And I think a lot of our suffering comes from comparison, right? Because even as I'm listing the different events, the 50 free, 400 free, 400 breaststroke, 400 fly, right? Like butterfly, like there are different events that people swim. Help me make this make sense. Okay. So there are different events that people swim, right? You're training, like you might be comparing yourself. Oh, I'm not going as fast as the person in the lane besides me, but you're swimming a 400 free. You're swimming a 400 breaststroke, which takes more energy, takes more time, more effort, right? And so you swimming a 400 free is going to look different than somebody swimming a 50 free, right? Off rip, the distances are different. So the managing of the energy has to be different. Whenever I swam a 50 free, it's just a burst of energy, down and back as hard as you can, as fast as you can, right? When you're swimming a 400 free, which is down and back 8 times, you have to manage your energy differently. I cannot go as fast as somebody in the lane next to me swimming a 50 free. And so sometimes this would happen. We would either have like people who, when I swam, it was a little bit of us who swam. And so sometimes we would have to compete in events that we're not used to swimming. So like the first time I swam a 400 free, it was because somebody who wasn't there. Somebody who wasn't there was supposed to swim it. And so I did not train for the 400 free, right? And so my goal was not to win. Because I'm not a distant swimmer. I'm not a distant swimmer, right? Like I was used to go down and back real quick. You feel me? And because I'm not a distant swimmer, I didn't really understand how to manage my energy correctly. I thought it was all about getting there fast, right? But halfway through it, I realized I'm exhausted. This is not working. This strategy is not working. And there was a lot of grace because again, this is not my event. And so my coach was like, girl, just finish. And once I change my goal from trying to be the first, right? Or trying to be the best or the fastest to just finishing, it changed everything. It didn't matter how slow or fast I went, as long as I got it done, right? The truth of the matter is you're comparing yourself with people who are not even swimming your event. This is your life. There might be things that are similar to people. Like, let's say that both of you all are swimming a 400 free, right? But you're doing a breaststroke. The person next to you is just swimming freestyle, meaning just like, hand over head, swimming down. But breaststroke is like right here. I can't do it. I've never learned how to really do the breaststroke really, really well. I can do it enough, but not to compete. But basically, you're here. It's different energy. You're using more of your bottom half of your body to get you through. You know what I mean? And more of your upper body. Like, it's different. There's something different. There's something different. I imagine like somebody walking past. I'm like, what's she doing? But it requires something different. Also, swimming, right? This is a bad example because life is not a competition. It's not a sport. But just go with me here, right? With swimming, you all start on the same starting block at the same time. You're sitting there on your mark. You push back. You get ready to launch yourself into the water, to break the water, as easy as possible, meaning like having your hands together, being as hydrodynamic or as a friend to the water. You don't want resistance, right? The thing is, though, a lot of us are not even starting at the same starting block. Forget the same event. You're not even starting from the same place. There are privileges that other people have that you do not have. And for you to judge yourself harshly based on those things that you weren't given is not fair to you. It's not fair. It's cruel. It's not right. You know what I mean? Like, just like me swimming at 400 free because my teammate was out there, I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to finish. That's it. I'm trying to finish. I'm doing the best I can to finish. You know what I mean? And like, we're so busy comparing ourselves to other people who are not even in our same event, not starting from the same place, right? In any sport, everybody, to level the playing field, people should, if you're racing, people start in the same place, generally speaking, or with the same privileges. That's not real life. You and I might not have the same privileges, right? So even listening to my advice might not hit the same because you're not in the place that I am. It's okay. It doesn't mean anybody's right or wrong. It's just different. We have different life experiences. And like the suffering that we bring to ourselves or that other people bring to us when they're comparing us to other people, like from comparing ourselves is so unnecessary, and it makes our journey through the water uneasy, and it creates friction that's unnecessary. It creates drag. It creates resistance that is unnecessary because we are competing with other people. We're not supposed to be competing. We're supposed to be minding our business, minding our lane, doing what we're supposed to be doing, creating, making, being a good friend, partner, whatever. Like, we're supposed to be minding our business. And there's so much wisdom from the sports that I've played, like, again, with swimming, keeping your head tucked. Focus on your own journey. Focus on your own time. You're not in competition with the people beside you. You're not. Even technically you are, like with swimming. You're not. In real life, there is no competition. It doesn't exist. We talked about this before. It doesn't exist. Sit with that. Repeat that to yourself. The competition does not exist. The competition does not exist. They're forcing me to participate in a competition that's not real. They want me to compete for pennies and crumbs while they're hoarding resources and making us fight to the death. Almost like, it reminds me of like a, what is a Coliseum where people come in and watch people fight to the death? Like, that's what they're watching us do. It's just for sport. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real. The competition is not real. And so, again, going back, we're comparing ourselves to people who are not running the same race as us or swimming the same race, in the same event, not on the same starting block, and not in our lane. Everything we need to know in our path and our journey will show up in the time it's supposed to show up. And I'm thinking about that black line. If you swim, you know what I'm talking about in the lanes. That black painted tile in that lane that you're swimming in, it's telling you everything you need to know. You don't need to be concerned about what's going on beside you. You need to pay attention to your own lane. Not only do you create drag, but you can harm yourself looking at other people. If I was swimming and I was too busy paying attention to my people on either side of me, right? Like, I would miss the mark, the T, where that black is, and I can swim straight into the side of the pool, injuring myself forever. We injure ourselves when we're not paying attention. We don't pay attention when we are comparing ourselves to other people. You know what I mean? So you can't even be present for the work that you need to do. You can't even be present for the people who need you, right? Like, even speaking about competing and swimming. Sometimes when I swam, My teammate was swimming with me in that event. We were not competitors. I'm hoping for her success and she's hoping for mine. It can be like that. We are on the same team. And I think that's the thing. When we see each other as competition, how are we competition when we're trying to achieve the same thing? Wouldn't competition just distract us from the mission at hand? Wouldn't me seeing you as my enemy and as my competitor just distract us from the work that we could do, the change that we could make, the good that we could do in the world? You know, hustling backwards, like this mentality that we've adopted, and I get it. Here's another thing I want to say that has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, but kind of. And I was talking about how we all have an inner colonizer, and what I realized after more reflection and more thought, I think I want to change my mind about that. We do. I think we do all have inner colonized language. Like we have ideas and abuse that we've adopted and then pushed on ourselves. But more than an inner colonizer, we have an inner traumatized person, an inner traumatized child. That voice screaming at you in the dark, you're not good enough, you'll never be good enough, is not necessarily evil. You know, sometimes that what is the word I'm looking for? Sometimes it's just a traumatized child who's saying, please don't put me in a position to be hurt again. That's it. It's like our traumatized selves saying to ourselves, and that's what I'm saying, like, I want to treat myself with more compassion. And even that, like, even calling it the inner colonizer, I realize in retrospect, like, that is still shameful language, right? It's shaming me for surviving an impossible system. You know, scathed. And we don't need, shout out to Marissa Price, we don't need any more tough love, especially for Black women. Like, I do not consent to tough love. You know what I mean? What I need is compassion. What I need is gentleness and kindness, and from myself. And so that starts with recognizing that voice as not a stranger or an enemy. That voice is me. That voice is me being harmful to myself, not because I hate myself, but because myself is trying to help me survive. Because I live in this, the sun's coming out. Hey, sun. Hey, girl. Please come out and play with me. But because we live in a society where we are, like, it's so cool when you're present. I'm sorry, I know I'm distracted. It is. I'm easily distracted. But, like, you know, when you're out and, like, you can feel the sun, like, you can feel the light change with the sun, and, like, your mood kind of lifts. Like, how you feel in overcast weather, or how I feel, I should say, speak for myself. How I feel in overcast weather could be cozy or whatever, but how I feel in the sun is completely different. Like, my mood is elevated. I really feel like I'm solar powered. But anyway, I feel like most of us are. And it's been winter. It's been great for a long time, girl. It's been dark, you know, but the days are getting longer. The days are getting longer and the night is getting shorter. As somebody with anxiety, I'm happy about that. So yeah, so going back to what I was talking about, like that inner voice, like having compassion with myself, so many of our ancestors were refugees fleeing violent places. I think about the Great Migration. I think about people fleeing from the South, from the horrors of the South, chasing something better, air quotes better, in the North. And how much changing they had to do to survive, right? Changing how they look, how they sound, how they walk, where they go, their appearance. Like, there's so many things that our ancestors had to learn to do to survive. And some of those things we've adopted, and we don't have to look at those things as like, oh, you silly ancestor. No, your ancestors were surviving, and they were giving you the best chance that you could have to survive too, you know? But at some point we have to look at ourselves and our ancestors with compassion. Even that ancestor that told you, or that elder that told you, oh, that's not right, that's not correct, or whatever it is. Yeah, it is oppression. I'm not gonna lie or deny it, but it's also love. It can also be love. The person saying that can be loving you the best way they know how. It's not saying that it is loving, but from their perspective, excuse me. If you would just conform, if you would just lay down and take it, if you would just be quiet, if you would stop making such a fuss, then you could survive, then you would be okay. Because that's how they had to learn to survive. After the horrors of enslavement and Jim Crow and all this other stuff, like, yeah, we have learned to silence ourselves, to look at ourselves critically, not because we hate ourselves, but because we want to survive. The reason why your mom hushed you is because she didn't want nobody else hushing you. You know what I mean? Or whatever, grandmother who, like, insert person here. A lot of the stuff that we've experienced is not because these people hated us, or these people who loved us or said they loved us hated us. It's because they wanted us to survive. They wanted us to have a good chance. And so the inner voice that we hear, is also our what we've learned from our own experiences. There are so many things that we're afraid to do. I'm gonna walk and talk and see how this works. Hey, okay. Ooh, this is fancy. Ooh, girl, hey, girl. Okay, so like there are plenty of people who live in fear of rejection because rejection hurts. Rejection hurts, and it's often like rejection means you're gonna lose your community. You know what I mean? And so like instead of being alone, which is dangerous, and any species will tell you that being alone or staying alone is dangerous. It makes you prey. It makes you easy prey. It makes you, stand out. And so people would, put down their need to be different for their need to be protected. And I think that little voice in our head is us. I think it's us trying to protect ourselves. It's the voices that we've inherited from our ancestors. It's the voices that we've developed from our own experience, our own lived experiences. So that aside, I just want to correct what I said earlier. Yes, I think it is messaging from the inner colonizer, or I think, the colonizer. But no, that voice that we hear is often ourselves wanting to keep ourselves safe. It's normal. Like, it is natural to protect ourselves by any means necessary. We're very good at surviving, okay? You don't get here and don't be good at surviving. You know what I mean? And sometimes surviving means biting your tongue. Sometimes surviving means conforming, And so your inner child is saying, conform, so we can be kept safe. But it's up to us as the mature people in the room to be like, I hear you, child. I hear you, child self. But when we conform, we're not safe. Remember how that makes you feel? It's like we're our own inner child protector, like, I hear you, child, but I hear your fears. Like just how a kid might be afraid or doesn't want to do something, but we have to convince them why it's good for them. You know what I mean? And sometimes we have to have that same compassion and patience with ourselves. So going back to this example about, I don't want to be seen. This is a very real example. I'm afraid of being seen because I'm afraid of being criticized because that hurts my feelings. Because when I'm criticized, it makes me feel like I'm not right. It makes me feel like people are going to throw me away. It hurts my feelings. It sucks that I share my thoughts and immediately people meet it with limitation, with criticism. I put my whole soul and my heart into what I create, and it sucks to be rejected that way. It sucks for people to reject what you create, or for people to see what you create and be like, that's ugly, or you're not good at this, or you're not smart, or you're not brilliant, like whatever it is, right? Like there's a reason why we're saying this stuff to ourselves is my point. It's not just this evil, sometimes it is evil messaging, right? But most times it's not. I'm not gonna say most. Sometimes it's us trying to keep ourselves safe. Have compassion with yourself, right? But also stop comparing yourself to other people because it's harmful and it's silly. You're not in the same race. You're not even doing, sometimes that person is swimming a 400 breaststroke and you're running track and you're playing volleyball. And so the methods that you need are going to be different. The strategies you need are going to be different. The muscles you need to develop are different. And so someone who swims might be playing volleyball and somebody says to them, you're an awful volleyball player. Yeah, because I swim. Or you don't have the right things for this. Yeah, because I'm a swimmer. You feel me? And so like, yeah, if you were to judge yourself based on this hypothetical volleyball player, right, and what they're saying, you would have no compassion with yourself because you'd be like, dang, I suck at this. I'm not good at this. Or this person is better than me. But then you get in the swimming pool, and you realize, oh, this is my area of, I'm gonna say expertise for lack of better words, but this is my area of passion and excitement and pleasure and all this other stuff. My point is that you are in your own event and you're comparing yourself to people who are doing something completely different than you. Yeah, y'all might be swimming the breaststroke together, right? But you might be doing 50 and the other person does 400. What is required of them is different. Like, yeah, doing a 400 free is going to take more time than a 50 free. You know what I'm saying? So like maybe your journey is just longer. Maybe your journey has more steps. Maybe your journey requires more. Maybe you're not as privileged as the person you're comparing yourself to, right? Maybe in privilege, like maybe you don't have the connections they have. You feel me? Maybe you didn't know what they know or what they knew when they started. Maybe you had to learn as you did it. Maybe this person had a mentor or somebody to hold their hand through it. You feel me? You cannot, there are so many, we compare ourselves lacking so much information. And if we looked into the information, because like I always say, envy is not a bad feeling. It's not. It sucks to feel and to experience, but envy is just information. Why are you comparing yourself to them? Is it because you want what they have? Okay, well, how'd they get it? Can you learn from them? The privilege of being able to follow them, like now you're privileged in that you can learn from them. But you can't learn from people, right? Fully. You can learn in some ways, but I really don't think you can learn from people fully when you see them as your competition, because you're going to distrust something because they're marked as the enemy. You feel me? Like, there's no way that you're just like, oh yeah, let me learn everything. No, like, unless you can honor your envy and be like, it's not a bad feeling. I am envious of you. Tell me everything, right? But that requires honesty and vulnerability, and that's scary. And not everybody's willing to do that because, and I understand, not a judgment, by the way, and I understand because everybody ain't safe. And everybody doesn't have good intentions, I just wish the world had better intentions. We could get so far. If we could all just be honest and be like, I'm a hater. I want to do what you're doing and I don't know how to do it. Or I'm envious. It took you 3 years. It's taking me 30. I'm back. Okay. I don't know. But I think, got my little fanny pack. But I think, my little socks. I was on a walk, right? Because I was going to wear sweats on top of these, and I wear my socks on top of my pants. I don't know if you can even see that from where I am. But I usually wear my socks on top of my pants so that no heat escapes. And so I was like, oh, it's actually kind of warm today because it's starting to warm up. And then I was like, oh, I'm walking here. And I had these kids. These kids were on this trail looking at me. And I'm looking at them, looking at me like, yes. And I was like, oh, I got these socks on. Whatever, girl. I feel warm. I feel cozy and comfy. But yes. Oh, did I do it? I hope I did it. Let me try it again just in case it ain't do it right. I did it. Okay. I just got a whiff of some scent that reminds me of college just now, and that's crazy. What is it? Come back. Either way, yeah. I hope the clarification was helpful in some way. Stop comparing yourself. It's distracting you. It's dragging you. It's wasting your energy and your time and your effort. Like, oh no, this rock moves, honey. Like, comparing yourself does nothing for you. It just confirms what you are, what is whispering lies, that you're not good enough. So-and-so's better. So-and-so has more. So-and-so is more talented. Like, what are we really, you know what I mean? Like, what benefit? What benefit really comes along with comparing yourself to somebody else's journey when you're not them? They're not on your journey. They don't know how you get to where you're supposed to go because they've never been there. Unless they have. And then we should look to them and be like, hey, how did you get there? You feel me? Because like I do think that we should use people as runways. I do think that there is a beauty in someone going before you, right? But at some point you branch out and create your own journey, your own path. And for that, there are no instructions. For that, there is no comparison because you're doing it yourself. Some people are thriving in the field that they're thriving in because somebody went before them and laid the foundation. Sometimes as foundation layers, right, there is no blueprint. And so we're comparing ourselves to people who didn't even have to figure out things that we have to figure out. It's not fair. It's not fair. I don't care how similar. You could be born in the same house. You get two different parents. You could come from the same two people and have a completely different experience, have a completely different interest in things, have completely different personalities, which is beautiful, right? Because it doesn't matter how similar two people are, there will always be differences. And because there will always be differences and variables that we cannot predict or plan for, you know what I mean? Or plan for before we even get started, sometimes inspiration strikes us in the middle of work. Like, oh, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go now. I'm supposed to turn this way, right? You can be very similar to a person, but you all's journeys are going to be completely different. To me, and I might come back and change my mind like I did just now, there is no benefit to comparing yourself to other people. Even when people say like, oh, just compare yourself to the you of yesterday. Why would I do that? I'm not me of yesterday. Why would I compare myself to the me of yesterday? I understand that people are looking for measurements or like, measurements of worth, I guess, or measurements of improvement. But what does improvement really mean when people say that? What I'm really measuring is, am I happy? Am I happy in this moment? Because even what I wanted yesterday is not what I want today. Who I was yesterday may not be who I am today. What I think yesterday may not be what I believe today. You feel me? Like, I am so in the moment. My past self is not my enemy. My past self got me here. So why would I compare myself of yesterday to who I am today? Why would I compare myself 10 years ago? Right? Like, even as I look at my own creative journey, I am so grateful for myself. I'm so grateful for myself 10 years ago because Alecia was creating before there was any proof of concept. Before people liked, shared, before people listened. Like, Alecia had to create the stuff without any proof of concept, without anyone saying, oh, you'll be good at this. It'll turn out this way. It'll be successful. I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing. You feel me? So it's almost like we want to look down on ourselves of yesterday. And instead, I hold myself of yesterday up because in a lot of ways, like I keep saying, she's braver than I am. Today, it's hard for me to do stuff when there's no proof of concept, when I don't know if it's going to work because I have experienced success in my mind, right? It's harder. But when you're starting out fresh and you have no proof and you do the thing anyway, that is bravery, that is strength, that is audacity. You know what I mean? Like, my past self was audacious. I will always look back at my past self with compassion and love. Never comparison or like, oh, I'm better than you. What? Why are we always so like ready and eager to make enemies of people, including ourselves? Why do we always have to have a monster to overcome? Why do we always have to make monsters of other people and ourselves? What is that? Why are we so restless? Why can't we never just rest? It's always something more, my God, always something to improve or to fix or to better. It's like, geez, when do you get to enjoy your life? My goodness, I'm so tired. Aren't y'all tired? You're doing great, sweetie. You're doing wonderful. Like what? Put your head down. And this is the thing. It's not saying that when you're swimming, like there will never be anyone there to help you. I had coaches. I had teammates. I had my mother came to every one of my swim meets. Like, I had people there who were cheering me on, who were giving me advice and words of wisdom, who could see things from a perspective that I could not see. I can only see here in that lane and that line. But I have a family and I have a community of people behind me who can see stuff from a different perspective so I can focus on my lane. That they can bring back notes to me and be like, hey, you know when you turn, I need you to try turning like this next time. You know when you're doing that, what's going through your mind? It's like, oh, I'm over it. Like, turning over for me, like swimming was really anxiety inducing for me for some reason. I never, like when you get when you get water in your nose and that burn feeling in your brain, I hate that feeling. And so I would always freak out turning over because I didn't want to drown. And I didn't want that burning feeling because when it burns, that's all I can think about. I can't focus on swimming. It hurts, right? And my coach was like, have you tried blowing out when you turn? I have not, coach. And so now, even to today, like I'll blow out when I turn so that the water doesn't come. And it's not a foolproof plan. Sometimes it's just, it still messes up. But you can only do that when you have people in your corner, not when you're competing. You can't get that information from people looking. Like, you study people. You don't compete with people. You study them. You join in collaboration with them. You join the community with them. I really feel like being competitive is almost like a shortcut. Being competitive is almost like laziness. Instead of making yourself vulnerable and saying, I need help, instead of saying, hey, you know something that I don't, you're just looking in the shadows and the bushes and like studying somebody, like that feels like exploitation a little bit to me. Wouldn't it be better just to go up to them and be like, hey, how'd you do that? And hope that they give you the response. Because some people are not going to respond well. That's not your problem. But to require yourself to be vulnerable takes strength. It is a skill. But instead, people want to lurk and study other people from a distance, trying to get their recipes, but you can't do that because their recipe is theirs. You might be able to be like, okay, generally they took some starch, some macaroni, some cheese, some whatever, milk, whatever you put in your mac and cheese. You know what I mean? But you're going to do it your way. At some point, you're going to add your own taste, your own touches. And at that point, there is no comparison because it's something that you all create, mac and cheese, but you make it your own way. There's creamy mac and cheese. There's baked mac and cheese. There's mac and cheese with the breadcrumbs on top. There's mac and cheese with the crusted cheese on top. People make it their own way. People make it with a lot of noodles, a little bit of noodles. Like, there is no competition. You have tastes. You have things that you favor, but there is no competition because the creamy mac and cheese is the creamy mac and cheese. The baked mac and cheese is the baked mac and cheese. Both mac and cheeses, but two very different experiences. Two very different processes, I imagine. You know? Yeah. Don't be lazy. Don't be exploiting people. Don't be hating. You know what I mean? And like, hating is not just feeling envy. Hating is like, oh, I'm gonna talk down on this person because they're doing something that I want to do. Instead of you just being honest and being like, I'm envious. I want to do that. Envy is not a bad emotion. I want to do that. So then you figure out how you want to do it yourself, or you go to them and ask them, hey, how did you do that? You know, let them know that they're inspiring you. It could be that simple. It don't even have to be, hey, tell me what you did. It could be like, yo, you're inspiring me. Thank you so much. I do that all the time because I feel envy too. I do. I feel envious. And again, because I'm not judging that emotion, it's an emotion like happiness or joy or whatever. All envy is information telling me that this is the way that I should be going. Because I want this. I want to experience this. I want to do this, whatever it is, right? Because again, I'm not envious of people who climb Mount Everest. I'm not. Because I don't want to climb mountains. I have no desire to do that. But I am envious of people who travel and sing because that's what I want to do. I am envious of people who can make a full living off of their art because that's what I want to do. There's nothing bad about feeling that. And we miss out on so much because we're unwilling to admit that we are envious or we are jealous or whatever it is, right? We're envious. Jealous is more about you being afraid. So even jealousy and envy is often a fear. Jealousy is a fear that somebody's going to take your place. This is a whole other conversation that we should have on jealousy and envy. But there's nothing wrong with being jealous or envious. That's a normal human emotion. What I can do is be like, I'm not jealous, I'm not envious, and lie, and then never do the thing, and never even attempt to do the thing because I don't want people to see me attempting to do the thing because I said that I hated it. Or I can be honest and be like, I'm envious. I want to do that. Let me figure out how to do it myself in my own way, right? Or even with the Mount Everest example. What am I envious of? So I'm not, like I said, I'm not envious of people who climb Mount Everest, but let's say, for example, that I am. Let's say that I am envious of people who climb Mount Everest, right? Okay, cool. Why? Because you don't like rock climbing, you don't like mountain climbing, you don't like people polluting nature, you don't like any of that. What are you envious of? And if you actually self-reflect, you might be envious that somebody's doing something great that other people recognize and celebrate, right? And so maybe for you, you're like, oh, well, I envy that. But I don't necessarily want to mountain climb. And what happens is people sometimes they drop everything. Oh, I need to mountain climb. No. You need to figure out what you want to be seen and celebrated for. You need to figure out what you want to be recognized for. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be held sacred and celebrated. We all want that in community. And some people do things like climb Mount Everest or swim across a channel or whatever because they want to feel great, because they want to feel seen. So sometimes we are also envious of people who also are looking for purpose or for their mark on the world, you know? But yeah, ask yourself, interrogate that feeling. Why am I envious? Why? Why am I comparing myself to this person? What do they have that I want? What do they have that I think that I don't have? Be honest about that too. Why are you comparing yourself to them? It's creating drag and friction, and it's making you an enemy of yourself and of other people when it's unnecessary to do so. You don't have to make an enemy of the people that you're envious of. You don't have to make an enemy of the person that you're comparing yourself to. I think that our first inclination is to do that because we compare ourselves, and if we think that this person is doing better than us, right? Then we think, hey, Crow. Then we think harm is going to find us because we're not good enough. We think that they are the standard of good or what is worthy. And if we fall below whatever that is, then we feel like we're in danger, right? And so this person then becomes my enemy because they are setting the bar that I can't reach or that I'm not there yet to reach, right? So we start attacking the other person because they're no longer just my community member or my collaborator or my friend. They're putting me in danger of being outed by my community. They're putting me in danger of being unworthy. Their greatness, their goodness puts my community status in danger. hope that makes sense. It's not saying that that's really happening, but I think that's what it feels like. It feels like, oh, there can't be enough for both of us. Like, there can't be enough love for both of us. There can't be enough esteem for both of us. You can't be good at that, because then what am I good at? And again, I don't think that this is an opportunity to bash ourselves or bash people who struggle with envy and jealousy and stuff like that. I think we need to really look within, but also look within community. Do we give love to people who don't meet that excellent standard? And the answer is no. So it makes sense why a lot of people are comparing themselves to other people, because we only celebrate what is excellent, as in excelling beyond what is normal. You feel me? Like, we only put our eyes on, especially for Black folks and Black women, we only celebrate women who suffer. We only celebrate women who do extraordinary things, not the basic everyday thing, the mediocre thing that insert person here gets praised for. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? And so, like, we're so hard on ourselves because we know that we often are only loved when we are excellent. If we come from a context where we are only loved if we come from a context where we were only celebrated when we did great things, or when we were only celebrated when we sacrificed ourselves, or when we went above and beyond, usually for other people, and sacrificing ourselves for other people. When we come from that context, it makes sense to see everybody in the world as your competition. Or when you come from a context where you didn't get enough love, and maybe you had a classmate or a sibling or something who got more love and affection and attention than you did. Of course, you're going to be competing, because you're competing for love. Like, that's what I mean when I said, like, what is the reason? Getting to the heart of it is hard. It takes work. And I say hard, I say it takes labor. It takes work, right? Because to be that honest with yourself, you got to really go deep sometimes. You got to be honest about the things that you've even been hiding from yourself, you know? The things that you've been unwilling to talk about. It's going to require that from you, you know? But, yeah, all comparison does is destroy community where there could be community. It makes you an enemy of yourself. Like, you can never rest when you're comparing yourself to other people. You can never rest, because there's always something to fix. There's always something to improve. There's always someone to be better than. It never ends. It never ends. And, like, when you're constantly competing and comparing yourself to other people, your life is no longer yours. You'll spend your entire life trying to be good enough for other people. And you'll look back after all those years like, what did I do all this for? There's a scripture in Ecclesiastes, and I love it because it talks about envy and jealousy. And one of the things that it talks about is, like, it asks a question. It says, for what reason do people work so hard? For what reason do people, and I'm paraphrasing and adding my own color, for what reason do people work their fingers to the bone? For what reason do people go above and beyond and hoard resources and enslave people? And for what reason do people work themselves like enslaved people? Like, for what reason do people compete with each other and sabotage their friends' success? And for what reason? And at the root of it all is envy and jealousy. And when I read that, I was like, you know what? A lot of people are doing a lot of things out here, not because they want to, not because they're inspired to, or because it's the right thing to do. A lot of people are doing stuff because they don't feel like they're enough. A lot of people are motivated. A lot of people are motivated by, and I'm going to say the pain, but they're really running towards relief. A lot of people are competitive because they want relief. They want acceptance. They finally want to win. But the problem is that no one told them that there is no winning. It's a competition that never ends. It never ends. You never find rest, which means that you have to figure out what is enough for you. You have to figure out what is the mark of enough today. What is the mark of, you know what, I am worthy of celebration. You know, I ain't out here running no marathon, but I'm walking. You know what I'm saying? That's worthy of celebration. And somebody might be running past me or riding a bike or whatever. They're coming from a different context. I don't know these people. To compare myself to a person on this track that I'm on this hey crow, on this path. The crow feels what I'm saying. To compare myself running next to somebody and I'm walking is silly. Why? Because I don't know that person. Who is that person? Do they train? Are they training for a marathon? Is their body, is this person male? That matters. All this stuff, right? Like, all these things, a different context. And I'm sitting here saying, oh, I'm not as fit as they are. You don't even know that. Just because you're walking doesn't mean you're not fit. What? Why is it that we automatically, judgment. You're bad. You're a bad person. You're an awful person. You're not good enough. You know what I mean? immediately, you're not good enough. Therefore, you're worthy of being harmed. And again, how we treat ourselves is a reflection of how our community treats ourselves, and how our community teaches us to treat ourselves. But I'm just here to give you that there's another option. You ain't got to treat yourself like that. You don't have to treat people like that. Other people that are doing what you want to do like that. There is no comparison. There is none. And when you work together, things last longer anyway. Make sure I got my things. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. I feel like I said this like 3 times, and like here I am still, and we're still 40 something minutes in. Anyway, but I think I said all I wanted to say. The sun is coming out. Hey girl. Hey son. The crows are having a ball. The crows are out here. The robins, woodpeckers. I've been hearing a lot of woodpeckers. Like I've been hearing them knocking on the wood with their, pop, 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 with their beaks. And what else? I've seen a cardinal. The blue jays are here too. Cardinals I love in the winter because usually when the snow is backdrop, they're so red and so pretty and bright. Oh, they're so gorgeous. And the water is starting to warm up. The ice is starting to thaw. And spring is coming. Spring is wiggling her little toes. And I shared earlier, I'm going to share with you. I got to take a picture of those flowers I took earlier so that I know what kind of flower they are. But yeah, we're back, baby. Spring is coming. Either way, I hope this inspired you to love yourself, to love others. Listen, celebrate yourself because you're doing the best that you can do, and that is enough. You are not them. You don't have the capacity they have. Why would you compare yourself to them? You might got kids. You might be caretaking. You might be taking care of a parent. You might be broke, okay? You might be sick. You might be injured. Why are you comparing yourself to people who not even going through the same thing as you? And even if they are going through the same thing as you, they were pain differently than you. You're not them. You don't have their body. Pain tolerance is different for different people, Be you, honey. Live your life. Focus on your journey. You'll experience less lag, less sorrow, unnecessary sorrow and suffering. Unnecessary. There is suffering and sorrow that comes naturally. You don't need to add anything to that list. You know what I'm saying? Try to make sure, y'all. Because I always close like, dang, I should have said that. I forgot that. But if that happens, there's always next time. Lord willing, there's a next time. And hopefully there's a next time. And if so, I will talk to you next time. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. You are a human being. You are flesh. You are fragile. You're precious. You know what I'm saying? Be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. It don't matter what you think you should be doing, how you think you should be handling something, where you think you should be. You are here. And this is what's real. This is the context. So what are we going to do with what we really have right now? Which is only today, this moment. What are we going to do with what we really have? Because all that self-judgment, I hear you, inner child, trying to keep me safe. But I have greater context. I have more experience. I got people that are picking us up out the mud. I don't even want to say out in the mud. It's just a normal, you being harmed by capitalism, by white male imperialism. Shout out to Got to Be Oshun. I have to figure out who said that. Because it's a woman, her name, she says her name all the time and I forgot her name. But yes, it's not your fault. We're all trying to survive these systems, these impossible systems, these delusional systems, right? These violent systems. We're all trying to do the best we can, And if you got air in your lungs, if you got life, you winning. Shout out to Nina Simone. She has a song that I really love, and it's called I Ain't Got No, I Got Life. And literally the lyrics of the song are, the chorus is, I've got my hair on my head. I've got my eyes, my nose, my mouth, my ears, whatever. My eyes, my nose, and my mouth. I've got my smile, and it's my smile. I got my tongue, my chin, my neck, and my boobies, my heart, my soul, and my back. I've got my sex. Yeah. I've got my arms, my hands, my fingers, my legs, got my feet, my toes, got my liver, got my blood. I got life. That's all I got. I got life, and I've never been here before, never read this book before. I'm literally writing the book as I'm living it. And to put that pressure on myself to be anywhere different than where I am right now, it's just harmful and it's cruel. It's like yelling at somebody who broke their leg to stand up and walk. That's just not their context right now. It's cruel and unkind and unhelpful and unuseful. And it distracts. And I imagine someone who broke their leg, for this example, and someone shouting at them causes them great pain and distress. And that's all we're experiencing is pain and distress because we yelling at ourselves. Because we think we should be somewhere we're not right now. You know? Okay. I think I'm going to sit near this water. You might recognize this place from before. Yay! But I think I said all I needed to say. Until next time, y'all. Again, keep loving yourselves. Keep loving each other. Walking and talking is work. And I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Bye! So how about I did all that talking and forgot the main point that I was making? So the main point I'm making is this. If you did not look to the left or to the right, you would not know that you're behind in life. You would have no frame of reference to know that you're behind. When I was swimming, you can hear stuff, but for the most part, there's so much chaos and noise going on because people are living and moving, i.e. living their life and stuff like that. Let me sit down. Ooh, yes. But because people are living and moving, and you're living and moving, you're not really hearing the movement of the people next to you sometimes. And so, until you look, you don't know that you're behind, until you can compare, oh shoot, they're closing in on me. Oh no, they're in front of me. Oh no, they've gone ahead of me. You don't know that. And when you tuck your head down, that also helps you to not be able to see. You don't want to see. You don't want to see who's beside you. You want to focus on your race because then you get in your head. Oh no, this person is ahead of me. Oh, let me slow down. Let me not do anything at all. What's the point? They won already. Who cares? Right? You stop trying, you stop living. And I think that there is good wisdom in that, Put your head down, live your life. Stop looking to the left and to the right and comparing yourself and slowing yourself down and depressing yourself and taking the wind out of your own sails, destroying your own energy. It eats energy. It's just energy bleeding out. You need all that sacred energy to do the good that you're meant to do in the world, to live a good life, to be happy, to be in good relationships with people. You need that energy to do that, not to waste your time looking to the left and to the right at people living their lives. Be so involved in your own life, swimming in your own lane that you can't even hear what's going on beside you because you're making a splash. You know what I mean? And that feels so cheesy as I say it. But that's what you need to be so concerned with your own stuff that you can't even hear what's going on beside you. And it's not to say that you ignore them or you don't cheer them on or whatever, right? But you're in the water. You got to swim. You got to swim for your life. They're swimming for their life. You got to swim for your life. And just because it don't look like them or you don't get there at the time that they get there does not mean that you're behind in life. You would have no idea that if you were swimming by yourself, if there was nobody else in that pool by you, to the left or to the right, right? If there was no one else in that pool, you would not know that you're behind in life or behind in that race. You would not know. You would have no idea because there's nobody there to show you that you're behind in life. It's the same thing. You got to swim. I was taught you got to swim those swim meets ain't nobody there. It's just you, the water, your lane, and the people that are there cheering you on and guiding you. That's it. Otherwise, it's just a waste of energy. It's a waste of energy and time to be focused on people who ain't focused on you, to watch them live your life. Why don't you get to live your life and they get to live theirs? Why do they get to get your attention, but you can't even have your own attention? Why do they get priority in your life over you? These birds are so pretty. They're singing their heart out. But why do they get to benefit from your own attention and your own energy and your own focus that could go to pouring into yourself and whatever you're trying to do, right? Whatever you're trying to do, to live, to be, whoever you're trying to be. You could be doing that, but instead you're looking to the left and to the right, slowing yourself down, making your work harder for yourself, losing momentum, and also beating yourself up. And then you mad and confused about why you're not where you think you should be. You beat yourself up. You're still recovering from the wounds you beat yourself up with, for the last time you beat yourself up. What do you mean? You see other people and you see that as a reason to not go for your thing. That would take the life out of anybody. That would take the wind out of anybody's sail. So that was a point. Like all that to say, like, this is your life. There is no race. There is no competition. There's no way to do your life wrong. This is your life. There are no markers. There is no whatever. There's no finish line. There's no, there's no rules. I mean, besides the rule of the golden one, right? Treat people how you want to be treated, and also treat people how they want to be treated. I like that. I want to chew on that more. But yeah, like, no, I don't want to spend my life looking to other people, and I hate that feeling, because I can feel the vitality leaving me. I can feel the life leaving me when I'm pouring my energy into looking at somebody and seeing them succeed and seeing that as a reason why I can't win. If anything, that should be confirmation that I can, right? Because if this person can do it, so can I. If this person can figure it out, so can I. If this person can use their privilege to get them good things, so can I. And my privilege is that I figure things out. It's an inconvenience. It's stressful. Like, and I'm talking obviously to people who are underprivileged. Like, yeah, there are limitations, but with our limitations comes great creativity, and you need to harness that creativity for yourself, not looking at other people and seeing why you can't do. No, use that energy for yourself. Because you are disenfranchised, because you are not starting on the same starting block as a lot of other people, you need to keep your energy close to the chest and sacred. You need your own energy. You need the best of yourself. You know what I mean? It takes that much more work, that much more energy to do the thing that you're doing, because you're not coming from the place that they're coming from. You're coming from, if we're using the analogy of the swim meet, from behind. And I don't mean behind as like behind in life. I mean behind as in like behind the person on the podium, meaning this person's on the podium and you're like 10 feet behind. You know what I mean? Because they've made that so. They've set you behind them. You know what I mean? So you need to use all that energy to be able to do what you need to do. Is that a jaw? That is a jaw. That is what? A jaw? There's a jawbone on the ground. And anyway, I hate having to use the word like behind, because it kind of like defeats the point, but you know what I'm trying to say. Privilege is a thing, and some people are more privileged than we are. And so that means that we have to focus on ourselves. We got to pull in oh, hi, Ron. Oh my God. It's a cardinal couple. They're so cute. But yes, so that was cute. They just like fled into the bushes. Are we friends? But yeah, you don't have the privilege. That's what I mean. You don't have the privilege of that. Like, you need the privilege that you have is being able to you are your best privilege. Does that make sense? Like, you deserve the best privileges. You know what I mean? And yeah, you deserve goodness. So I hope what I'm saying is making sense. Like, they don't deserve your energy. You deserve your energy. Okay. But yes, okay, that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to go now. Love you. Love yourself. Love each other. And until the next one. Okay, bye. Of course I'm not finished. Of course I'm not done. But I think the idea of coming from different contexts is really important. I think the thought of like, oh, I should be able to do X, Y, and Z because this person did X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, like, you're not them. And you're not made to do things like they're made to do things. You're your own person. You're with your own code. You know what I mean? Like, you have your own way of doing things, and the way that you do things is necessary. It's needed, and we don't need another copycat of this person. We need your thing done the way that only you can do it, because you're you. You know. And to clarify, when I was talking about for people who might be underprivileged, right? You're not starting from the same starting block. But what I want to offer is that it's not that you have to catch up. I don't want you to think that you have to catch up with the people behind you. With the people who have placed you on blocks behind them. Let's be clear. These people have placed you on blocks behind them. You're not behind them. They have artificially placed you behind them. You know what I'm saying? So hold on one sec. So it's not about you having to catch up to them, because in some ways that's still performative. Does that make sense? Like, it's still looking at yourself as deficient somehow. You know what I mean? Like, you have some improving to do, or you have some whatever. No, like, what I find rest in is that 400 free that I was talking about earlier that I don't do. So like I said, I didn't train for this. I don't have the lungs for this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to finish. And I think life is like that. Like, even the scripture, when it talks about the race, like, oh, the race wasn't given to the swift, but those who endure. It's like, yeah, that's freeing, because it's not about me getting to this place at a certain time. With racing and swimming, there's a time that you're trying to get there. You're trying to get there in your fastest time. But like, in order to do that, you have to There are things that are required to do that. You know what I mean? But in your life, you're not in a race, and it's not saying by this time you have to have X, Y, and Z. It's saying just finish your life. Like, just finish your race, as in live your full life. The beautiful thing about the 50 free and the 400 free, it don't matter. Like, there are rules, obviously. You can't cheat. But like, it doesn't matter how you get there, just finish. For you, it doesn't matter how you get there, just get there, and get there at your own speed, at your own pace. Take a little break when you want to, because this is your journey. There's no need in rushing it. There's no need in rushing your journey. You're rushing your journey to die early? Like, what are we doing? Your journey will take the time it needs to take. Why are we rushing ourselves to an early grave? That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, take your time, savor your life. Like I said, take the side and the street roads, like we were talking about before, the surface streets. Savor, smell a flower, say hello to somebody, dag on, take up space in your life. If not, you will just have these, it's almost like I'm thinking about those lanes in the pool, like those swimming lanes. It's almost like, instead of there being a lane full of color and life, like a fully colorful lane, right? It's like there's just a through line. It's a person who ran and rushed their way through their life without making beautiful connections with people, without learning anything new, without trying anything new, without challenging themselves, without exploring or playing. And so, like, yeah, they live their life, but then they get to the end of their life and they realize they didn't live their life to the fullest. And so, just like for people who, what is it? The 5 regrets of the dying. One of the regrets of the dying is like, I wish I didn't work so hard. Like, literally, this person wrote this book called The 5 Regrets of the Dying, and beautiful lessons in there. But one of the main regrets was working so hard. And I imagine, like, so these people, like, they talk about, like, working so hard, all they did was focus on work, success, or achievement after achievement, accolades, more like that, what I was talking about earlier. It never ends. It's just nonstop. And then they get to the end of their life when they're dying of some disease or something, and they're like, dang, I wish I didn't work so hard. I wish I had more fun. I wish I played more. I wish I hung out with the people I actually love. I wish I spent more time with my kids and my wife. I wish I spent more time with my parent. I wish, like, all this stuff that people are worried about, none of that stuff matters. It's just like these games that we play to keep ourselves occupied, so we don't actually have to occupy our lives. Let me focus my attention on this achievement, not because I want to do it, but because somebody said I need to do it, or because I feel like this will give me meaning and purpose. Let me set my eye on this goal. And then when you reach the goal and you realize it doesn't satisfy, then you're like, dang, then like, am I broken? Is something wrong with me? No, because that thing was never meant to satisfy. You're meant to live your life. You're meant to be present in your life. Your life is happening right now. Not on the top of Mount Everest. That's not where you find your life. Your life is right here, right now, on the ground with the people that you see every day. Your life is right now. It's made up of the people you pass by in the grocery store or on the bus. It's the people, you know what I mean? Like, that's what your life is made up of. That's what makes your life beautiful. And people, when on their dying beds, are saying, oh, I wish I didn't work so hard. I wish I gave myself more time to have fun. I'm going to listen to that wisdom. And having fun takes time. Having fun is distracting from the path. But what I want is for my life to be a complete, like, one thing I wrote down in my journal is that I want to live to the edges of my life. I want to live to the edges, and to live to the edges. If you're painting, let's say like a piece of paper, whatever. Let's say you're painting this. It's a pillow, but pretend it's a piece of paper, right? If I want to live to the edges of my life, it's going to take me more time to paint from side to side than if I did one streak down the middle. Like, yeah, I did it. Okay, cool. Next. No, like, I want my life to be a beautiful tapestry. I want my life to be a fully expressed, like, piece of art. I realized the tassels, oh no, it's broke. Either way. But you know, but this pillow got a lot of life. You feel me? Like, it's broken because I've used it a lot. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I want my life to feel lived in. You know, when you go over to people's houses, they don't want you to touch nothing. Me and my mom were talking about this recently. How every black person has like a sitting room that you don't sit in. You just look. They're to look nice, right? Like, no, but people in general, like, their houses look lived in. It's normal. It's normal for your house to live in because you're living in it. You don't got to put on, you know, the Ritz for me. This is your house. This is your sanctuary. This is where you should feel safe, you know? And so, like, I think it's that way with our lives. Our lives should feel lived in. And that takes time. That means, yeah, you might do the one line here and be like, I'm done now, but like, I'm still in my corner over here. And I'm retouching this color right there because I ain't like that. Oh, forget the white. Let me do a yellow. Let me put a yellow line. Like, that's how I want to live my life, so carefully. I want to live my life so carefully. You know, and not careful as in like I have cares, because we all have cares. But careful as in like careful, thoughtful, being present in my own life. But yeah, but that's what I wanted to clarify. It's not that you have to catch up. It's not a performative thing. It's saying that you're coming from a different context, so you deserve great compassion. Because even the context you're coming from is not a context you placed yourself in. It's a context they placed you in. It's not your fault. There is no fault. There's no wrong. You know what I mean? Just live. I felt like Yoda for a second when Yoda was like, there is no try, only do. But no, like, you're not wrong. You're not at fault because somebody placed you in a different context, or you were born into a different context. Like, that would assume then that some people are favored over other people, and some people would believe that, you know. But no, like, why are they deserving and you're not? You know, why are they deserving of grace and compassion and celebration and you're not? If you are you're overcoming things that they never had to overcome. You're working from a different context, a different point of view, a different scenario that they've never had to encounter because of their privilege, right? Like, so even celebrate the small things you're doing, because it is miraculous. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a big deal. Stop using these like how much you make at a job, which really means that what someone is willing to pay you. That has nothing to do with your worth or your value. How long it takes you to get your degree, if you have a degree at all. Like, we are all just playing a game, trying to make it by, trying to survive. Like, there's no need to compare ourselves to each other when we're all just surviving. Oh yeah, you're surviving better than me. Oh yeah, they're trying to kill us all, but I need to make you my competition. That don't make no sense. You know what I'm trying to say? Okay, for real now. I think I'm done, because I can just keep going. But that's all I wanted to say. You're coming from a different context, and you deserve grace. You deserve grace, gratitude, celebration, okay? And you deserve great compassion. It might take you longer, and that's okay. It's taking me longer, and that's okay. I'm going to get there if I get there, when I get there. And, you know, I'm not even trying to be morbid, but I had this thought. I was like, if I'm no longer here, what does it matter to me anyway? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. I'm good mentally, y'all. I'm good. But I'm just saying, like, okay, we worry and fret about things that we cannot change, about a future we do not know, right? And then we die. I don't want to spend my life worrying. I want to be happy, you know? And if I pass away, I'm not going to be wanting for anything anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to be concerned with capitalism and money. Like, no matter what your belief system is, it's just like, none of this stuff is real. You feel me? Like, it's not real. So like, okay, so I'm just going to worry myself, which is just making me sick. I'm just going to worry myself to death. That rushing and worrying brings about death sooner. That rushing through your life kills you sooner. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just going to run towards death, all worried and unhappy and ragged. And then I'm going to not be here no more. And it was all for what? All that worry for what? I made my life miserable for what? For what? What was it all worth? I think about, again, there are a lot of scriptures that really changed my life and perspective. And there's a scripture in Matthew that basically talked about, worrying about what you're going to eat and what you're going to wear and all this other stuff. And one thing that is said in that scripture is like, can you add another day to your life by worrying? No. If anything, it does the opposite. It takes a day away. You feel me? And I'm not saying that I don't worry, because that would be silly. That would be a lie. Of course I worry. I'm human. And I live in a society that's evil and awful. Of course I worry. You know what I mean? But sometimes I gotta be like, what is in my control and what's not? It's both. You know, nuance, add the things, you're smart, you're brilliant, you're here. You know what I mean? Like, it's both. You know what I mean? And there are things that I worry about that are just gonna be there, and there are things that I'm going to choose not to worry about. Even as I say that sounds bizarre, but yeah, I'm choosing. I've literally chosen not to worry myself with some things, and And people get upset about that. Like, we tell people that this is their life to live and all this other stuff, but then if they don't live it the way that we want them to live it, then somehow they're wrong, you know? Which means that it's not really true. We want people to live their life in the way that we think they should live it. Yeah, I don't even know why I said that. But I don't want to worry and die. I want to live and die. You feel me? Like, I don't want to die, but I want to live. You know, I want to live before I die. Shout out to Aunt Eunice. She literally, before she passed away, one of the things that she kept saying was like, I'm going to live until I die. I said, I know that's right. I know that's right. And I want you to live until you die. You know, not worry about things. And like, I don't want you to I don't want your life to be a dedication and a monument to other people's insecurity, other people's evil, other people's oppression. I don't want you to spend your precious life paying homage to evil people. I don't want that for you. I want your life to be like, if your life was a statue, I would want it to be like resurrected with, like, you know, with joy and happiness and all the things that you feel in your life. Fulfillment, contentment, peace, justice, love, generosity. Like, that's what I want your life to be. Like a beacon of hope and light. And it's hard to do that when you are poo-pooing yourself because you're not where you think you should be. You are exactly where you are. Your life is happening now. It's beautiful now. You can do amazing things with what you have right now, you know? And I argue that your life is amazing right now. And sometimes we be overlooking, and me included, we be overlooking the good things in our life because we're not where we think we should be. But where we are, there's so much beauty. And we're unwilling to look at what's around us right now that's beautiful. I have to do that. I have to look at my life and be like, what is beautiful about my life? What is beautiful in my life? What are things I experience that are beautiful, you know? And that keeps me off the track of comparison, because my life is beautiful right now. Like, I'm doubling down on that beauty. I'm having those experiences over and over and over again. Like, so that I live my life so loudly that I can't hear what's going on beside me, you know? Okay, I'm done now. All right, love you. Bye. Hello, beautiful people. Okay, so I have been looking for signs of life, signs that spring is coming. And look, the flowers are blooming. Oh, I don't even know what kind of flower this is. I gotta, drop my phone. I gotta look this up. Look at that. Spring is wiggling her toes. Oops. Spring is coming. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Day, dun da dun 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 day. All your life you felt behind. Dun da dun day. Everybody is passing you by. Dun da dun day. You wonder when it's your time. Dun da dun day. You stuck on the ground while everyone's flying. Dun da dun day. You're at the right place at the right time. Dun da dun day. You're at the right place. You're not behind. Dun da dun. You're at the right place at the right time. Dun da dun. You're at the right place. You're not behind. Dun da dun. Late bloomer. Dun da dun. You are so beautiful at every stage. Dun da dun. At every age. Dun da dun. Late bloomer. Dun da dun. You are so wonderful. Just run your race at your own pace. Yeah, yeah. Dun da dun day. 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 Whatever's mine, it will be mine. I will get there on my own time. Whatever's mine, at the right time. I don't have to strain for it, it's mine. At the right time, I don't have to strain for it, it's mine. On my own time, I'm at the right place at the right time. It's mine. I'm at the right place, I'm not behind. I'm at the right place at the right time. It's mine. I'm at the right place, I'm not behind. I'm at the right place at the right time. It's mine. I'm at the right place, I'm not behind. I'm at the right place at the right time. It's mine. I'm at the right place, I'm not behind. My own time. Dun da dun day, 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 dun da dun day. Whatever's mine, it will be mine. I will get there on my own time. Whatever's mine, it will be mine. I am right here at the right time. Dun da dun day, at the right time. Dun da dun day, at the right time. Dun da dun day, dun da dun day, dun da dun day, dun da dun.